Once upon a time, in a cozy village nestled among green hills, there lived a kind and clever lady named Mrs. Marigold. She had a secret that no one in the village knew. At the most unexpected times, Mrs. Marigold could shrink to the size of a marigold flower. One sunny morning, while Mrs. Marigold was baking her famous blueberry muffins, she suddenly felt a familiar tingle. With a gentle whirl, she shrank down, 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 until she was no bigger than a thimble. She gazed up at her giant-sized kitchen and sighed with a smile. It's one of those magical moments again. Just then, she heard a soft whimpering from a corner. To her surprise, it was a tiny mouse, looking sad and lost. Mrs. Marigold, being kind-hearted, approached the mouse and asked, "What's wrong, little friend?" The mouse looked up and explained that he was lost and couldn't find his way back to his family in the meadow. Mrs. Marigold, though small, was filled with determination. "Don't you worry, we'll find your home," she declared. Together, they embarked on a grand adventure. Mrs. Marigold rode on the mouse's back, and they scurried through the grass, which seemed like a vast forest. They encountered other tiny creatures and faced challenges like crossing a deep puddle, which to them seemed like a huge lake. Mrs. Marigold used her cleverness to help them navigate these challenges, showing bravery and resourcefulness. She taught the mouse to build a tiny bridge using twigs and leaves to cross the water. They even helped a group of ants who were struggling to carry a heavy crumb. In return, the ants showed them the path to the meadow. Finally, they reached the meadow, and the mouse's family rushed to greet them, overjoyed. The mouse thanked Mrs. Marigold for her kindness and bravery. Just then, Mrs. Marigold felt the tingle again and grew back to her regular size, waving goodbye to her new tiny friends. She returned to her kitchen, where her muffins were ready, and she chuckled to herself, thinking of her extraordinary morning.